Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, rather. I am J. Mark Asli, I'm your moderator. To all of you, we are here to witness and listen this debate that they will going to tackle. To start this program, I am encouraging each one of us to kindly stand up for the moment of prayer to be led by Esel Chan Managbanan. Let's bow down our heads for a moment of prayer. Most gracious Heavenly Father, God, Lord, we give thanks of all blessings that we have for today, Lord God. And Lord, we pray, Lord God, that Lord, we ask for your guidance, Lord God, and Lord, please give each of every participant, Lord God, a knowledge and wisdom, Lord God, as they answer each question, Lord God. And Lord, please protect us in this day, Lord God, as we continue our day. And Lord, we give up all the glory, honor, praise, adoration, all belongs in the name of Jesus. Kindly sit down. At this time, let me introduce to you our judges of this debate. We have Dr. LCM Cabanlit, our principal, and Ma'am Janet S. Gavino, our English teacher, and also to our advisor, Ma'am Christine B. Salga. And this side, we have the pro team. We have their chairman, Joy Rose Dalogdog. Also her member, we have Leia May Balangyaw, Mugit Buhari, Ergeline Salcedo, and Jonel Jocampo. Also in this side, we have the cons team. We have their chairman, Aiza Ugalde Carudin. And her teammates, we have Hanilu Salazar Shason, Marjorie Hoylar, Dina Marie Abarquez, and April Joy Abli. Each of them are given 2 minutes of minimum and 3 minutes of maximum to share and tell their idea. And the person who will assist the time is Jovelyn Serrano and Edsel Jan Managbanan. I know all of you here are excited to witness this debate. The question that they will go into debate is the use of calculator is advantageous among grade 10 high school student in mathematics? Let the battle begin. Let's hear from the pro team.
Once again, good afternoon, especially to our board of judges and to our teacher, Ma'am Christine Selga. The question is the use of calculator advantageous among grade 10 student mathematics, yes or no? First, let me define what is calculator. Calculator is used for making mathematical equations, and particularly in small electronic device with a keyboard and visual display. My answer for the question is yes. I know that you know that a calculator is very important for us. The advantage of calculator is more than its disadvantage. Some people against using calculator because they say student will depend on it, student will be lazy, student will know how to get the result of equation, and also using calculator is cheating. Why we use calculator? As a grade 10 student, the advantage of calculator for me, first, it gives more accurate result than counting manually. Second, it reduces the consequence of solving problem. Third, helps students to become quickly and an efficient manner to answering the problem. Fourth, avoid boredom and stress in counting process. Fifth, useful to convert the units of measurements. Calculator is one of the tool of mathematics are also way to answer the difficult problem of our equations. I know every one of us have different level of intelligence. So some individual it might be struggles to answer the difficult problem without using calculator. I'm not saying that I depend on calculator instead of using ability or capability to do that work. We need to know the positive outcomes of using calculator in the classroom. To know the effective strategies and to know the purposes of teaching students how to use calculator. According to the National Council of Teaching Mathematics or NCTM, the use of calculator can enhance the focus of students, make confident abilities, and to show the strategies to answer the equations. So, calculator is advantage for us grade 10 students. This is one way to preparing for our future. At this moment, I rest my case for now.
Good morning, everyone, and also to the board of judges, and especially Dr. LCM Kapatid. Is the use of calculator advantageous among grading students? For me, yes. It is because calculators many advantages, and it is necessity, beneficiality, and practicability to all high school students, especially grading students and college students. Calculator is necessary to all students. It is because it helps us to solve easier and faster, and help us to focus on problem solving rather than basic computation. And it is required by the teachers. Several states, including North Carolina, are now requiring to use graphing calculator, and 95% of the schools surveyed allowed or required to use graphing calculator in their Algebra 1 and their Geometry, 98% in their Algebra 2, and 99.99% in their pre-calculus or trigonometry. There are a lot of beneficiaries of calculator: teachers, students, businessmen, and vendors, and so on. There are a lot of benefits using calculator to all of students. First, it allows us to focus on problem solving. Second, it allows us to try new math concept and may not try because of the computation involved. Third, make student more confident. Fourth, time. Student can solve problem more and reasonable time frame. Fifth, prevent silly mistakes. Seven, practice the skill. And last, we can consume time. And nowadays, we are in high technology. As a grading student, we need to know and practice using calculator to have advanced knowledge and not belong to ignorant people. Because when we are in college, calculator is very important. And one of the students of in JFI College, Ms. Diane Abdul, a secondary college of accounting student, who says that their professor will not teach them without using calculator. And I do believe that calculator is very important. And calculator is not all about fast and easy answer. And that would be all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, especially to the Board of Judges and students. There are those who say there is no place for calculators in the classroom, whether elementary or high school. Then there are those who say that mental math is no longer necessary, that we live in an age of technology and memorizing multiplication facts or working math out with pencil and paper has become obsolete in the waste of time. Now, is the use of calculator advantageous among grade 10 in mathematics? Yes. So what exactly is the role and advantages of calculators in math education? The calculator can be a wonderful tool in math classroom if used in an appropriate setting in inappropriate way. For example, there are ways to incorporate calculators into the classroom without using them for computation, but rather to explore and discover. If you are trying to teach students their multiplication facts, it would help them to let the calculator do all the works. If you use calculator, however, to show them the pattern of addition and multiplication, it can help enhance their number sense and build a stronger foundation for the multiplication facts. While working out 12 factorial number would be long and tedious manually, but students can see the patterns quickly with a calculator. Similarly, Playing with a calculator to explore other patterns or create their own patterns can lead to excellent mathematical discussions and discovery. In addition, students can explore the number pi or Fibonacci sequence or other forms and concepts of math with a calculator. This allows them to focus on the concept and discover new ideas rather than getting bogged down with computations. Again, calculators should not be used to compute, should be used to compute and solve problems in the schools and classrooms for the students or take place of mental math exercises. But they can certainly enhance learning and allow for great discoveries in use in that way. Again, that's all for now. Good afternoon.
And now, let's hear the idea of the cons team.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, especially to our Board of Judges. I am Hanilu Shasun. I choose the position side of the topic. Is the use of calculator an advantage for grade 10 students? No, it is not an advantage. Why? First, let me explain. What is a calculator? A calculator is a tool that helps students to solve problems in mathematical subject, but on the other hand, it makes them lazy. Why? Well, students will depend on their calculators and tend to rely the answers that is given by it rather than solving the problem and analyzing it to apply in our daily lives and to the said field. A student should be able to apply his or her skills and discover it through self-willingness in studies, because the student was able to solve and analyze the problem without using such thing as a calculator. With the advent of smartphones, many of us now carry calculators in our pockets wherever we go. However, that doesn't mean students should rely on calculators to do all of their mathematical thinking, and certainly doesn't excuse them from learning basic number facts. Calculators take away the necessity for a student to know the basics. Even for young students, just learning their facts, it serves no purpose. Just because it's easier to use a calculator does not make it more efficient to do so. Many high schools inadvertently cultivate generations of calculator abusing students by placing whose importance on memorizing formulas than understanding them. They discourage mental math. Reliance on the calculator does not afford the student the advantage of practice and underlying steps needed to perform the calculation. One can use a calculator without actually understanding the underlying mathematical principles. At this moment, I rest my case. That could be all. A pleasant afternoon to everyone, especially to our Board of Judges and to our math teacher, Ma'am Christine Selga. So I choose the opposition side in the topic. Is the use of calculators advantage among grade 10 high school students? Nowadays, some students are now depending on using calculators. However, that doesn't mean that we should rely on calculators to do all of our mathematical thinking. The reason why some students cannot solve well, even in basic equations like adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, is even in basic equations because of laziness, unserious, and not focus on their studies, especially in mathematics. We all know that if we abuse things, there is a negative effects on us. And first is the no skill building. Relying on a calculator results a child being unable to progress in math due to lack of fluency and recall Although calculators are able to quickly add, divide, multiply, and subtract, but still calculators had no solutions. We still need to know on how to be independent. Human brain has the capacity or the ability to solve math problems because we know that the graded students has the knowledge to solve problems way back in our past grade levels. Since we are elementary, our teachers teach us to solve math equations. Why would you even think of calculating them on your own? As a result, at the end of the day, you yourself will going to be suffer. Imagine if you can solve basic problems using your minds. How about in hard problems? So I think, ladies and gentlemen, all of those efforts can convince you that using calculators should not be used in grade 10 high school students. At this moment, I will rest my case. Thank you.
Afternoon, especially to our board of judges, and to our advisor, and to my co-classmates. I am from the position team with a question. Is the use of calculator advantageous among grade 10 students? As a grade 10 student, I would say no. Well, nowadays, students should not rely on calculators to do all of their mathematical thinking, and it certainly doesn't excuse them from learning basic number facts. It's important for teachers to point out the appropriate times for calculator usage, and the times when the only computing device needed is your brain. And I have here some negative effects of relying on calculator. First, no skill building. It is when calculators take away the necessity for our students to know the basic. Even for young students just learning their facts, it serves no purpose to use a calculator to compute 16 times 4 equals 64. Furthermore, a student who relies on the calculator for simple equations will not remember the solution after he writes it. Down on the homework page, relying on a calculator results in a child being unable to progress in math due to lack of fluency. And recall of facts. A child who is able to compute 16 times 4 equals 64 without using calculator knows much more about the concept of multiplication than using a calculator. Second, not learning concepts. As stated, being able to record an answer in a sheet is simple enough, but understanding the underlying concepts behind the equation, showing through understanding and mastery of the mathematical subject. From simple multiplications to the quadratic formula, there is no sense in being able to plug numbers into a computer and write out another number unless you understand what the number represents. Many high schools inadvertently cultivate generations of calculator abusing students by placing more importance on memorizing formulas than understanding them. And I have here another effects of over-reliance. A kid who is permitted to use calculator to do their own thinking. In an article in Education World, Linda Starr lists some of the concerns of critics of calculator, stating that they produce students who can't perform basic stacks without a calculator, encourage students to randomly try a variety of mathematical computations without any understanding of which is appropriate or why, prevent students from discovering and understanding underlying mathematical concepts. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, if we know how to solve equations in our own, then it's not necessary for us to use calculator. And that's all for now. Thank you.
And now, let's move on to our second round of our debate, the rebuttal round. Each team are given 5 minutes to ask another team about another team, and another team will answer the question. So the pro team will start. Am I right? I know. Or rather, cons team will start the question. Thank you.
You said a while ago that if students use calculator, they will gain confidence. In what way?
Because if we use calculator, we couldn't defend to our classmate, and we defend ourselves because we know that calculator that help us how to solve math problem, and I do believe that calculator is a very good useful tool as a student.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Students will not depend on their classmates unless they listen carefully, and it is not necessary for them to use calculator because they listen and understand it. Second question. You said also a while ago that mental math is no longer useful today because of new technologies. That is my second question. You said also a while ago that mental math is no longer useful today because of new technologies.
Actually, we're not, our, our, we're not telling that, we're not saying that, we don't, use solving a problem, we're not using, we will not use our brain because calculator will only help us to get fast answers, and because as we all know, calculators are fast and accurate, and which helps us to them to get more confidence in solving our problems.
Oh, to build your confidence. So that's why your teammates also said that students should use calculator to its fullest. So therefore, you're trying to say that all of the students should use calculator at all times rather.
Using calculators is not always good in all times because as I have said a while ago, it depends on the user's intention. Because if the student is depends more on its calculator, there are possibilities that they will not practice their mathematical thinking.
So I would say you must meet in your group because your member said that you should use fullest to its fullest, and you're saying that you should not use at all times. And here is our last question. You said a while ago, Mr. Speaker, to let the calculator do the work. Why? And how comes?
In your pardon, please.
You said a while ago, Mr. Speaker, to let the calculator do the work. Why? And how comes?
I'm so sorry, but you didn't listen to my speech, and that's not my thoughts, opinion, and ideas. So, question, please.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, but you don't also understand our question. Okay, here is our another question so that you can't understand it.
Thank you, Constantine, for asking first. And now let's move on to the pro team to ask also the question from the cons team. We'll start with
You said a while ago that we are not using our brain when we are using calculator. Do you think when we click the button of the calculator we are not using our brain?
Oh, Mr. Speaker, you are the one who is being not listening. You should listen carefully to us.
And I'm listening, Miss Speaker. Your code group was say that using calculator is not using our brain. And I take note. Ask everybody that you are lying.
I'm not lying, Mr. Speaker. Hold your
Give a chance to
temper.
other Miss Chairman. Give a chance to your co-member to answer my questions.
I'm sorry you did not understand. What I'm trying to hold this mic is to
So you understand what I'm saying, what my question is.
Oh, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, your co-group says that we are not using our brain when we use calculator. Even we click, we use our brain according to science. Even Sir Asura says.
Mr. Speaker, I will remind you.
And another question is that I raised my case. And this is. I'm so sorry. I just carried away my strong emotion. And this is my question. Who will make the disadvantages of calculator? The calculator or the user?
Pardon, please.
Who will make these advantages of calculator? The calculator or the user?
The issue. Okay, we have Dinah Marie for that question. I clear it for you, Harry. I hold this mic to introduce who will answer to your question. I am not taking all of the times. Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Well, to answer that question, Mr. Speaker, the user is the one who is making the disadvantages. That's all.
The third question. The third question is, if we carry our calculators, what is the purpose of calculators if we don't use it?
If we study well in math, what is the use of our brains if we don't use it and we don't use our ability to answer the problems in math? If we bring calculators in classroom and it is not necessary to use it, what would you do? If in any exams or tests that the calculator is not necessary to use, what would you do?
Did you know that the capacity of young pupils is not great, and they know when the right to allow your students to use calculators in the classroom? And this is the fourth question.
You said a while ago, what way that we use calculator will be lazy and what way that we use calculator abuse us. Because some students are depending on calculators, even if in basic equations, they are depending. So what is the use of their brain if they're not using it?
What if, Miss Speaker, your professor would only give you 3 minutes to answer a complicated problem? Would you answer it in just 3 minutes?
Yes.
Will you use it? Will you use your calculator?
No, I will use my mind.
And how sure you are you can answer it correctly and with a given time?
Because I have my trust in myself and I know that I can do it. Because I've studied last night so that I can answer it.
Yes, Miss Speaker, our teacher, Ma'am Sega, give a difficult question a while ago. So you say that you can answer even you say that even you use your brain. If you are using calculator and we answering faster. If you see that you can answer it fast. If you are depending on your brain.
It's depend on the equations.
It's depend on the equation. Raymond, you can answer the answer our teacher a while ago.
You answer it correctly?
No, I use calculator because calculator can help me how to use answer and fast.
But you forget, Buhari. Ma'am Selga said permutation is one of the easiest equations in our lessons.
You see?
Time is up. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You see, it is so easy. It's the basic easy difficult problem. You can answer it without using calculator.
Thank you, guys. Now you're showing your very strong emotions. You're very shy. Now let's move on to the third round of our battle. We have the third round, the chairman versus chairman. So let's start with the pro team or let's cons pro. Let's start with the cons.
Hello, Miss Speaker. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
So now, Miss Chairperson, what is your question? Miss Chairperson, you're consuming our time.
I'm sorry for that. Okay, here it goes. Relying on calculator gives students a false sense of confidence about their math ability. It's because when they don't know the answer, they will use calculator because it is more easier. So how could you say that it makes them more confidence? Give me 3 justifications.
Because calculators can help us to get fast answers because calculators are fast and accurate. Second, calculators can give us can help us to reduce our stress and give us a time to recheck our answers if we have something forgotten. Then calculators are also a way of giving the students to devote more time understanding a complicated problems. And that's all.
Okay, second question. As you stated one of your teammates a while ago, many of the students hate math, but when they use calculator, it became their more enjoyable. It because why? It because they are just depending on calculator. That's why they are being so lazy because they are thinking that it's so easy because they have calculators. So how can you say that it is very advantageous to all of the students?
Math is tedious and might not everyone's favorite subject. Calculators help it make more enjoyable, and students and teachers alike seem to agree that they have some sort of use in the classroom environment. And it because calculators help us to prevent boredom in mathematics subject.
Or I should say, students become more lazier because of using calculator.
How could you say that when we are using calculator, we become lazy.
I'm sorry, Miss Speaker, but it's still my time. Wait for the moderator for his
Then,
instruction.
Mr. Speaker, this is a debate.
Oh wait, I'm not yet done.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
You have a good communication with me. Thank you.
You said a while ago that calculators can help to recheck it, so you don't have a trust in yourself?
Not especially in if we are solving complicated problems. Calculators is very useful because especially if there is time pressure and especially in our exams.
So, what is the use of your studying? Or should I say, what is the use of your mind, your brain?
Miss Speaker, even when we are using calculators, we are not saying that we are not using our brain. Another question? You don't have? Okay, my turn. So my question, Miss Chairperson, in your whole life or journey in grade 10, are you sure that you are not using calculator?
Yes, I'm sure.
Then, Miss Speaker, you are lying because we as your classmates saw you that you are using calculator. Then how could you say that you are not using a calculator in this school year, Miss Speaker?
We're talking about grade 10 students in mathematics.
But my question is,
Wait,
are you able to use calculator in this school year, Miss Speaker?
in this school year, I don't. Maybe I use it, but in other purposes, not in mathematics during our class.
What are you talking about? You are using calculators in finding a answer in English question in English question in Filipino question. You are using calculator.
Yes, it have. It may. Actually, especially in science.
Then calculators calculators are useful in we're talking about numbers, Miss Speaker, and not about language and not about literature.
Pardon, please.
Miss Chairperson, you was not able to your answer we are not satisfied of your answer.
Oh, you're not satisfied because you're looking for science, but we are talking about using of calculator advantages among grade 10 students in mathematics. So you don't even care if I use it in other subjects because we are talking about in mathematics.
Then I will return to you the question. Is the use of calculator advantageous among grade 10 students in mathematics? Then, as I have remembered, in our past exam, I saw you used a calculator during our math test. Then, how could you say that you are not using calculator?
I know God should not involve it, but God knows I did not use even calculators. Amen. Yes.
You're lying, Miss Chairperson. Say okay with that. Another question.
I will answer it. I'm not lying. Promise. I did not use calculator in
Okay, Miss
mathematics.
Chairperson. We
During
understand.
our exam, yes.
Oh, okay, another.
In our mathematics, I'm sorry, nobody's perfect. Mr. Speaker, you're so very
Another
looking for my
question, Miss
mistakes.
Chairperson. In your speech, you said students forgot their equation. In what way and how and why?
In what way? Because they will just imagine. For example, why we should remember the equation if we have the calculators?
Then the calculators don't have calculators don't have the formula, but with the person who is using it.
But one of your teammates said a while ago that not all of the students is brilliant.
Chairperson.
So that's why
You are the one who will answer the question, not me.
oh, I'm answering it. You did not just even understand.
Okay, give me a true justification, acceptable reason
Oh, acceptable reasons of what?
of my question a while ago.
Pardon, please.
In your speech, you said students forgot their equation. In what way, why, and how?
Three justifications only? Oh, thank you. Okay.
Three justifications that is acceptable.
How for you also?
Yes.
So we are in the debate.
Yes.
It should be all of them.
Yes.
Oh, you're right.
Yes.
Okay. I'm right about that. First, it's because they will just insisted that why we should enable for them to memorize the equation or the formula if they have the calculators. Because ladies and gentlemen, some of the scientific calculators have equations at the back. Second, because they are being...
Time is up, Miss Chairperson.
Thank you for reminding
You were not
me.
able to answer the question.
And you don't even also answer my question
Miss Chairperson.
perfectly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I'm going to congratulate not only the participants but then as well as future advisor. Even though you have not yet done that one, but then in your mathematics subject, you have already applied the debate. And then another thing, one member of the other team had also cited for the evidences. Remember that in a debate, you're not just going to share your ideas, your opinions, but then you're going to share the facts. So it is very evident that you're going to cite the evidences, factual situations, just like Buhari have said, just like in JFI, they are using the calculator in their accounting process. Okay, when Isa had replied, she said that it is in accounting subject and not in mathematics 10 subject. So need to say, you have already comparing, there is already the comparison. So need to say, your mind is working, you have already the reason. So hopefully, it's not just only for the members of the team who would be applying the logical reasoning. It should be not only in a planned manner, but then as well as in your daily life, in your daily undertakings. Just like a student, you should apply always the logical reasoning number, especially when it comes to love. Remember that the heart is here and the mind is here. So you're going to use your head